A little bit. But the only reason I'm surprised is because of the wife. I mean, the reality is that since 2016, 2017, when she gave that interview, she was revealing, that this is the man that comes home with concussions. Obviously, he had never been listed as having concussions at the time or what have you. She was basically giving us insight and putting the world on notice. Listen, y'all ain't the ones that got to live with him when his playing career is over. That would be me. And so when you looked at it from that perspective, considering who she is, what she means to him and his family, the fact that the wife was pushing for him to ultimately end his career is something that I took into consideration. My attitude was, you know what, he was going to sit up there and hesitate, but to the extreme until he finally said goodbye. And once he said goodbye, there was no coming back because obviously he was taking her into consideration. But in the end, she is the one that has to live with them. And just like he has to live with her, she has to live with him. And she probably saw that itch that was still there. Her love and support come shining through. She gave him the okay, and he ultimately changed his mind. That's where I'm at with this. That's my thinking. Obviously, I have no inside information whatsoever in regards to that. I'm not in their marriage, but that's what I surmise took place because I never saw anything in Tom Brady's play, fellas, that said he was finished. 43 touchdowns, just 12 interceptions, throwing for over 5,300 yards last season, getting them to the divisional playoff game, coming back from a 27-3 deficit against the ultimate Super Bowl champion, Los Angeles Rams. He is far from finished. To me, he made the decision to walk away because of his family, and I think he came back because his family said, we know how miserable you are just sitting at home watching these games when you can still play at this level. We love you. Go back and play. That's what I surmise has transpired, but I don't know anything.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Look, I think we all know that the older we get and the more people that we have to answer to, the more that, we don't make decisions in a vacuum anymore. We know that. Even if we want to do certain things for ourselves, we just don't make decisions that way because that's just not the way life works. And I think even with Tom, look, he was trying to say, hey, look, I know that my family wants me around a little bit more. Everyone knows how I do it. Everyone knows in order to play at the level that I play at, you have to be all in a way that is uncommon, man. Look, many people think that they work hard at their jobs, but they're really not necessarily. I don't know if they necessarily are working to the degree that the people who are the very best, the transcendent individuals, the truly transcendent individuals are working in order to put out that kind of performance which they put out. And I think Tom is one of those types of guys. And I think he still knew that he had it in him to be able to make that kind of commitment because he knew he was still able to play at that kind of level, that would be the end result. But when you have a family that sees you leave the house when it's dark, come home when it's dark, miss all kinds of different things that are going on in their personal lives that they would like you to be a part of, and you wind up looking back year after year after year going, hey, when did that happen? When did that event happen? When did that event happen? When you're looking at pictures and they're going, you weren't here. You were off training. You were off on the road. You were off winning championships, whatever it is. That starts to work on you. And you start to think, hey, maybe I need to go ahead and start making some decisions for other people instead of just myself. But if they give you the blessing and they know that you can still perform on a high level and they know that your life's work has been what it has been, especially in the case of a guy like Tom Brady, and they go ahead and give you their blessing to go ahead and continue to pursue it, you're out the gate, man. You're doing it once again. And that's what he's doing right now. And look, we're all the better for it. We're all going to benefit from it. But Tom's a man. Tom's a human being. Tom's a family man, just like all of us on this screen are. And you know that he was making decisions that weren't just necessarily for him. And you got to commend him for that, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised that he changed his mind. I did not think he would. I thought he would stay retired. I'm not shocked, though, because nothing in the NFL shocks me. I think the reality is this, and Stephen A., you kind of mentioned it, given what this team was last year, who was one of the oldest in the NFL, and they were one of the most beat up. 2 years ago when they won the Super Bowl, they were the healthiest team in the NFL. Last year, they were one of the most beat up teams in the NFL. Even with all that, and Stephen A., again, you talked about it. They lost on the last play of the game to the team that eventually won the Super Bowl in Los Angeles Rams. And I think that, because of all those injuries, when Tom makes the statement of unfinished business, my mind goes like, what do you mean unfinished business, guy? Like, you got 7 Super Bowls. You're the greatest player ever. But the unfinished business is when this team was constructed this time last year and brought 22 starters back, it was, man, this is the team to beat. They could go undefeated. They're going to go back-to-back. And we really did not get to see that football team last year because all those guys were missed for such extended periods of time. And I think that's the unfinished business with Tom was that team that he played with last year, that wasn't the team that he thought he was a part of because of all those injuries. And I think he's got conversations that he's had with Jason Light, and Lewis could speak significantly greater to this than I can, of, hey, if I come back, what does this football team look like? Because they got a ton of free agents, Molly. I mean, they got a
I've got a list
right
here, 10 notable guys, stars that they're trying to get done. Obviously, the Jensen deal happened last night. But, Dan, to your point with the roster construction, and Lewis, I'll let you get in here on this because obviously you know much more than I do. From what I understand, he's only going to cost them $20 million.
Yeah, that being Tom?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, look, there's still some significant players still, even with that being said, that they still need to re-sign. And again, you also have to understand, I mean, we all understand that this is one of the older rosters in the NFL. And even if you bring back the majority of the guys on some below market deals and you're able to quote unquote run it back, you just don't know what their projected future performance is going to look like because they're all in that gray area. They're all in that twilight zone as far as their career is concerned, where you don't know what you're going to get from year to year. So although he likes to, as he likes to say, there's unfinished business. Yeah, there's unfinished business as far as what they want to get done as a team. There's obviously unfinished business as to what Jason Light can actually get done. And then you just don't know what that business is going to look like that they're going to put on the field because you don't know what many of these guys are going to look like. Because look, I mean, Jason Pierre-Paul is not the same player. Look, from year to year, you just can't project that he's going to be the same player. William Golston, you can't project he would be the same player. Look, Carlton Davis, you could. Jordan Whitehead, you could, because these are younger players that really are right now in the primes of their careers. But you just don't know. I mean, and hey, look, I don't know how many guys are going to be willing to take a Ryan Jensen type of deal. Although he's getting paid a lot of money, their center, he could have stood to like absolutely clean up in the open market.
Okay.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.